I want to say something about a story that is developing now from last evening. I want to say that I don't support children being locked out of school. At all, I don't. And there is nobody in their sober mind would ever support that. But I have a question. Have we followed exactly what was wrong with that story? We are living in a country where we are so quick to judge the teachers and the administration without hearing their side of the story. Can I tell you something? When children are closing school, they are given a newsletter. That newsletter indicates all what is needed as they go back to school. Don't forget, these kids have been at home for 2 months. And I am sure there was a newsletter, either soft copy or hard copy. Most of the times it's in two formats. So you as a parent, you have been having this format, the requirement for your daughter to go back to school, of your son to go back to school. And maybe you did nothing about it. Now there are two things you can do when you realize that you cannot meet the requirement of the school for your child. Number one, you can contact the school before they open. I always advocate as a parent to go to school in person. Meet the principal. Tell the principal what you are going through. And every principal hears. These fellows are parents. Then number two you can do, if you cannot make it before, please accompany your child to school. Please. That way, you'll be able to explain to the teacher and the administration where you cannot meet some requirements. And I can tell you today, I have been a principal of a college in this country. There is nothing as frustrating as running an institution where the government is not supportive and the parents are indifferent. Do you know there are some parents who never attend school meetings? We had a case last year. A school added some money in the school fees. Some 5 parents felt aggrieved. What did they do? They ran to Jogo House to go and report the principal and the board. Only to arrive there and they are shown the letter signed by the board and the principal that was agreed upon by the teacher, by the parent in a meeting where these parents never went. Kazi yao ni porojo, sinema kuu na siasa ambazo hazina miguu. Find out where your child is schooling. Kama kuna shida. Are you one of those parents who never attend school meetings? Kazi yako ni kelele, matusi na kila kitu. Dear Kenyans, our dear parents, we cannot run our schools like that. I admit there are problems in this country. I admit the government has its own problems. I admit as parents we too have our own problems. As a priest, Father CK, I have so many kids that I support in school. And therefore, I am a parent to so many sons and daughters in primary school, high school, colleges, and universities in this country. So when I talk about these things, I tell you what I go through as a priest and as a parent and now as your servant. Let us support our schools. Condemning our principals cannot even help. Even if the government decides to suspend that teacher or to sack her or whatever, what is the government going to do with those indifferent and difficult parents? How do we transfer a principal and then we have not transferred the parents who have made running of the school difficult? The other day I met a principal. She's running a school where there is a lad case. This principal, the school is sponsored by the church. This principal is not being supported by the government. The church is not supporting her. The parents have taken sides. Some are on the side of the fighters, others in school. What do you expect such a lady to do? She has no support from the church that is sponsoring the school. She has no support from the government. Some parents have taken sides. These are some of the parents we have. Let me tell you the reality of our schools today. Our government, because of whatever is happening, is taking ages to remit funds for the schools. So what is happening? The principal is only waiting for your school fees, which you are not paying. And when your kid is sent at home, you start throwing tantrums. So the kids are opening school today, or yesterday they did, or this week. You have released your daughter to go to school, to eat, to be fed, to be educated, to be protected. You paid nothing. Na hata kama ulilipa kidogo, you have not communicated to the school what you are doing about the remaining amount. When the kids get in school, the government have done nothing. You as a parent have done nothing. Before shule zifugwe, mukawa na miti mkasema, watoto wakifugua shule, we expect this and this and this to be done. Na wazazi wanakubaliana. Please don't forget that I'm also a board chair in some school in this country. So I know how these things are done. Alafu nakubaliana. Let us agree that will be done at the gate. So, sisi tumekubaliana hizi ni sheria na zitatimizwa na watoto wataangaliwa kutoka kwa gate. Na tumesema kama wazazi, mtu mwenye hatatimiza haya, mtoto wake asiingie shule. Dear parents, there is no principal who have said that watoto wasiingie. Nyinyi mliketi, mkaagree na mkaandika. Only when the things now goes viral, mnageuka mwalimu. If you go to that school today, I'm sure you will find some agreement ya wazazi na shule. It is so difficult to run a school in this country, where especially parents, some, not all of them, majority are so supportive, but there are some parents in this country who are just difficult by choice, indifferent strategically, as in hawataki anything. Ataka mtu asome lakini hataki kufanya kitu in this country. Juzi tumeongea juu ya tabia za wanafunzi na wazazi. You are dealing with a case of, for example, drugs in a school. Unaita wazazi, you discuss drugs. So what is happening? Wazazi wenye wanaenda shule kudiscuss drugs, they go to school drunk. And you are telling us that, you know, the principal is not running the school well. Let me ask you, is the principal going to fix the manners of some parents? Is the principal supposed to go home and fix your marriage problems so that you can support your children? Before we blame the principals and the teachers, because in this country we lynch them nevertheless, and mitihani kifanyika hawajapita vizuri, tunachapa walimu. We are waiting for the form 4 results. It has taken ages to come out for whatever reason. Na zikitoka utasikia tutaanza kublame walimu. The same people who have sacrificed a lot of time to be with our kids, wakiaguka mitihani tuna blame. I admit in some cases they can also bear some blame. But when will we take responsibility that as parents we are failing our schools? When will we admit the fact that our school administration is being frustrated by the government? Who is going to speak for the principals? Who is going to fight for the teachers? Who is going to support our schools? Dear parents, let us sober up. And then we look at our principals as our own people, our moms, our sisters, our dads, our brothers. And then we look at a bigger picture. Because where we are now, we are even dealing with a school system that was not very well thought of. So we are in a mess systematically. The system is in a mess. Politics in a mess. Parenting in a mess. Sponsorship in a mess. Tuko na shida kila pahali. And fighting is not going to help us. Blame game is not going to help us. And I'll tell you today, until such a time, wazazi, walimu, na shule, na kanisa waketi chini, they decide how to run our schools, we are going to see more drama coming. And I hope and pray that in my time, and in your time, we'll sit down together without blaming anybody. Remember, fahari wawili wakipigana, nyasi huumia. Tutapigana, tupigane, watoto wetu ndio wana lose. Right now we don't know the fate of grade 6, grade 7, grade 8. Hatujui waende wapi. This year, no Form 1 that is being admitted. So we have that kalakuna that has not been addressed as it should be. We don't know where to take some of the kids. But we want to lynch our principals. Please, do you know how many of them are so frustrated? Do you know how many principals who are so frustrated, they are just hanging on a thread? Because hataki kuogea, akiogea aseme anafinyiliwa, anafutwa kazi. Na hakuna kitu kibaya kama a country where politics have not matured kabisa. We want to politicize everything. And in this country today, we are at a time where we just want to hear a voice. We lynch. A voice. Choma. A voice. Ua. A voice. Fukuza. A voice. Suspend. A voice. Sack. We don't work like that. Ni kama kila mtu ameokota jiwe. Tuue mtu. Ua. Unamuua kwa nini? Nimesikia tu wakisema tumuue. That's where we are. We want to kill everybody who is talking. Juzi tumeongea mambo za abductions. Mtoto anaongea abducted. Mwingine anaongea anauawa. Mwingine anasimama anashutiwa. Mwingine anafanya hivi. We don't work like that. We don't work like that. As we talk about abductions and other political evils, let us sober up. And we ask ourselves, where are we heading as a nation in terms of academics and running our schools? Dear parents and Kenyans of goodwill, before you blame a school, please listen to their side. Before you blame the principals, please listen to their story. Never condemn anybody whose story and history is not known to you. I pray for all of us. For the parents who are struggling financially, may God come through for you. For the principals who have been judged and heard, I pray for your peace of mind. May God give you the patience and composure to take in the heat and continue protecting and guiding our kids. To our education officers, I pray for wisdom for you, that God may guide you in running the offices that you have. I know it is not easy for anyone. I pray for the president to be able to guide us as a nation. I pray for everyone. And I tell you, dear good people, we cannot solve an academic problem through games, blame games, stone throwing, insults, and other things. It can't work that way. It cannot work that way, and it will never. We can make noise for as much as we can. But remember, those of us who are making noise are doing nothing. And maybe we are part of the mess. And as we make noise, watoto wetu wako nyumbani na wanateseka. Let us admit, as a nation, we are in a big mess academically. Education wise, tumepoteza. Hiyo tuko down. Tuko down. And we cannot sit and blame the president. He doesn't live in this country alone. We can't sit down and blame the. Of course, there is a lot of blame game to be done, but to the leading class, the MPs, those who enact laws, the president, his deputy, and other people. But if each one of us was to do their part, we would be in a glorious place. My prayer for you. My prayer for you. I want to say this for a millionth time. I support the teachers. I support the principals, and I pray for them. And I do this because I know what some of them are going through in this country. Wazazi, mbarikiwe sana na mpate pesa za kuwasomesha watoto. Asanteni sana.